My next guest is an Emmy-nominated actress and producer. She's about to star in her first regular series role since Touched by an Angel ended in 2003. The new show is called The BAXTERS. It's a family drama based on the best-selling novels by Karen Kingsbury. It premieres March 28th, streaming on Amazon Prime, and I recently sat down in Los Angeles with the executive producer and star of The BAXTERS, my pal Roma Downey. Tell me, how did you first come across this series? This was a series of books, The BAXTERS.
Yes, I was introduced to The BAXTERS as a fan. I had a friend who gave me one of the paperbacks, the first one, and I was on a long plane journey, and I popped the paperback in my purse and thought I'll get a sleep and then I'll do a little bit of reading. And I opened the book, and honestly, Raymond, I couldn't put the book down. I just was like, you know, it was
Ravenous.
A page turner. I really was. And when I was reading it, I was seeing it as visuals in my mind. There are 27, I think, of these books in this series, this beloved family series by New York Times best-selling author Karen Kingsbury.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I would just call her up and ask her if I could option the book rights. I didn't know her, I knew of her.
Yeah.
She didn't know me, but she knew of me.
Yeah.
And so I made the phone call, and she said, "This is extraordinary, and let me tell you why. My father, before he passed," she said, told her that he thought it should be a television series also. And he said, "You know, you should reach out to that young woman from Touched by an Angel." Well, I loved, first of all, I was the young woman.
You still
I was like,
are.
I loved your father. But Karen said to me, "Isn't that amazing that you know, it's sort of serendipitous?" And we just felt that the God moment in it, and we felt that it was a blessing, that it was meant to be. And she entrusted me with this, and I have made a beautiful television series that'll be on this Easter.
And people should know, I remember, this had to be almost a decade ago when you bought these
Yes.
rights. You've been working at this show for a long time.
You know, it's been a real lesson in patience and tenacity. You know, in between, I've done a million other things.
Yes,
It wasn't that I was
know
just
them.
working on it, but
Yeah.
sometimes it takes some time for all the pieces to come together.
And what was it when you read the series that, and I guess what you discovered there, that kept you in this fight for 8-9 years to bring this to screens?
Well, you know, I think I just loved how she writes about families. And it's a family of faith. They're not perfect people. They're problems, many problems, just like the rest of us. But we see a family that maybe don't always like each other. They don't like each other's choices. They don't like each other's behaviors. But they always love each other, and they help each other rise. And at the center of it is the mom and the dad, and I play the mother.
Yeah, the matriarch of the Baxter
Matriarch
clan.
Elizabeth Baxter, and Ted McGinley is wonderful as my husband, John Baxter. I don't think we often see, Raymond, a loving and committed marriage modeled on TV. And so this couple are at the center of this story. Their family around them, they have 5 grown children. You know, there's issues like most families have. It's messy, like most families are.
And life, yeah. It's
And
messy.
life is hard. And but you know, I just love the family dynamic.
Was there any trepidation of taking on this beloved Baxter series because you've got 26 million copies floating out there, and therefore, you know, whatever, 52 million eyeballs who want this to be a certain way and have envisioned it in their heads a certain way?
No, that's right. I'm sure when the first photograph was released, you know, you had fans all over the country going, "I never thought she was going to look like that." You know, we worked very closely with Karen Kingsbury. You know, I am such a fan of hers. I have such admiration for her work, and she was a tremendous partner because she consulted on this. She was available to me at all times if we had to make some kind of a plot change to adapt it to the screen. You know, because on the page she can write any number of things. You know, I had a limit of a budget and a period of time. time the episodes were going to be, etc. But she was always available to say, no, that would be okay. Because I think it's important that we stuck true to the essence of the story and the world that she has so lovingly created. The fans of this Baxter series are very, very loyal and very, very noisy. And, you know, when...
Have you heard from them yet?
Yes, I've been hearing from them. My social feed is filled with comments. Mostly they're just super excited. They've been waiting for this for a long time since these books were first published. And it's become a very beloved family series. And
well, there's something else beloved here, and that is, for the first time in a long time, Roma Downey is leading a television show again, since Touched by an Angel.
That's right.
What's the point of being an angel if I can't sing like one?
Here we go.
What is that like? Was there any hesitation on your part?
Well, you know, when I first optioned the books and had this dream of bringing this series to television, I did not imagine that I would step into the role at all. You know, I've been, as you know, Raymond, we've spoken a number of times over the years with my various projects. You've always
Books
been
and movies
so
and
supportive.
TV shows.
That's right. But I've been primarily producing and really loving my work as a producer. And then in between, if I've had interest in other areas, it's been in authoring books.
With a slight detour as the Virgin Mary, I might point out.
That's
but,
true.
yeah.
That is true. I did step. We were
Another matriarch you might remember.
Well, that's true, isn't it funny? And then the other big role I played in my career was that of Jackie Kennedy.
That's right.
So we can kind of see a
through line.
A through line here. But I decided that maybe it would be good for the series, and maybe it would be fun to get back in front of the camera again. I loved the character.
I was going to ask you, tell me about this character.
Yeah, I love her kindness, and I love her compassion, and I love her empathy, and I love also how feisty she is when she feels that any of her children are threatened, you know, without ruining the story that's upcoming. But we're going to see a few things where, you know, but through poor choices, people get hurt. And Elizabeth is quick to jump to the defense of her family, but she's also quick to jump into prayer. And, you know, we never get to see that on TV either.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No,
we don't
I
get
was,
to see.
I was struck by not only how authentic the couple at the center of this, the mother and father, you and Ted, it felt very real, but the ease with which the faith was embraced, noted, but it was very natural. It didn't feel...
It's not laid on.
Right. It's not
an extra thing. It's just inherent to the storyline. They happen to be a family of faith. Now, not all the kids are deep in their faith, you know, and it's like a lot of our own families, right?
Yeah.
You maybe your mother is, and you know, you kind of lost your way, and so on. And so we really get to see that dynamic at work. But the mom and dad, you know, when worried, in episode 1, for instance, they're worried about their daughter Carrie.
And it's all about
It is
the
Carrie's
infidelity
story, and there's an infidelity story, and they're very worried about her.
I have built my whole world around you.
Tim is in love with another woman.
I don't know why you want to stay with him.
I'm fighting for my marriage.
I'm a little worried about Carrie and Tim. They don't look at each other the same way anymore. And very naturally, they say, you know, shall we pray for her? And they just stop and they pray for her. And they pray for her in the name of Jesus, too, which we never really get to see on television either, I don't think. I don't think it'll put people who are not of our faith off, but I think for people who are of our faith, to see that reflected in a television show, to see the values that we believe played out in these storylines is really a beautiful thing.
You have a couple in committed, lasting love at the center of this family. We always see the darkest sides of family life.
True.
You know,
That's
they're either running somebody over or they're cannibals or you name it, they do it. It was so, I have to say, it was something that in days gone by were so commonplace. It's not any longer.
No, I know it's almost something nostalgic about it, you know, but I think that, you know, they're like the anchor, they're the glue that hold this family together, and we see this sort of chaos at times of the family and just bad choices that are made. Listen, this is how we learn, isn't it? We fall to our knees and we rely on, the love of our families sometimes to help us to stand up again.
How many episodes do you have?
We have over 30 episodes in the can, and so
How many per season? 10 per season?
yes.
Oh, boy.
And the episodes are short. They're shorter than a normal series would be, and so I've been learning new language in this new era of digital and streaming television, and because they're slightly shorter episodes. I've been told they're very bingeable.
They're very bingeable.
And so, and as we were making it, part of the goal was to create like little cliffhangers at the end of each episode because we want you
to keep going.
To keep going.
Why did you come back?
To save our marriage, if that's still what you want.
And there's no ask here. It's not like you have to go out to the theater and buy a ticket or anything. You just have to turn your TV on. You can curl up on the couch in the comfort of your own home with your own family. It's a multi-generational show. You could watch it with your grandmother. You could watch it with your kids, and it will start streaming on Amazon's Prime Video Easter. It comes up on Holy Thursday.
What do you want families to get from the series? What are you hoping they'll take from it?
Well, I think that if you were to you have to just condense what the themes. There's love, there's strength, hope is a big through line.
Yeah, it's not just a soap opera.
That's right. It's a hope opera. I know.
I love that.
It's great, right? And I think that it's in that way that people maybe, just pour through soap operas. They're going to want to come back to this because at the essence of this family, there is this element of hope. There is this element of faith. And the fact that it's coming on Easter, Raymond, I'm so grateful to Prime Video for giving me, again, the Easter time slot. Last year they were very generous with it, and I saw great success with my film with Dennis Quaid, On a Wing and a Prayer. And then, as you know, a number of years ago, my husband, Mark Burnett, and I came out with the Bible series and the movie Son of God. And these were all Easter hits because Easter is the greatest hope story that there ever was. It is a season of hope, a season of new beginnings. And so I really think it lends itself well that the BAXTERS will launch this Easter season.
Do you like the episodic, getting back into that episodic groove, or was it hard to get back into that?
It was hard, those early morning calls. And, I did it for so long. I was on Touched by an Angel for almost 10 years. And to carry a show like that was very hard work. Della, of course, my
Great
wonderful, beloved Della Reese, who was the lasting gift from that series for me. She was just my great mentor, my great friend, and my great mother. She emotionally adopted me.
I remember.
If you remember, my own mother had died when I was a little girl, and Della's only daughter died when we worked together. And she said, God is amazing, Roma. I always knew He brought me into your life because you needed a mother. She said, I just didn't realize He brought you into my life because I was going to need a daughter. Will you be my baby girl? And I said, yeah. And she said, that I am your mama. And she was my mother. And, this mother-daughter theme is something that I'm always interested in. The mother-daughter theme plays so beautifully throughout the BAXTERS.
Incredible guests.
Yeah, and an incredible guest, Kathy Lee Gifford, my dear friend Kathy Lee, does a lovely guest role on a few episodes. And then her daughter, Cassidy Gifford, plays the girlfriend of Luke Baxter, and she's marvelous in the show. And then my own daughter, Riley Enspaw, plays Erin Baxter, a small but meaningful role. We often joke that it was such a stretch for Riley to play my daughter and such a stretch for me to play her mum.
A role she's been preparing for her whole life.
But it was great fun. But the actors are absolutely lovely. As a woman of faith myself, I've been committed to bringing inspirational content. This is what I've been. I've been living in this space for a very long time. you know, I feel that I'm still able to do it through entertainment. The Baxters is not a show that's going to hit you over the head with a message. It's a modern family drama, but the family happen to be a church-going family, and it's just inherent to who they are. And we rarely get to see that, and I think that's kind of the fun of it. The few early viewers that we've had some private screenings for have just loved being able to see that aspect of it, and people going to church and people gathering outside church.
There's a book of yours that we miss talking about that is very personal to you, because I remember you telling me the backstory of this years ago. The Message in the Moon.
A Message in the Moon.
Tell people where that came from, because it's so dear. And
Yes. You know, I've written 3 other books in the last few years, but this was my first venture into
Kidlit.
To Kidlit, yes. And I worked with a wonderful illustrator, Holly Hayden, but it was based on a story really that was inspired by my own father when I was leaving Ireland for college in England. And I was a bit anxious about going away long before we had cell phones or the ease with which we can now communicate with each other. And my dad said, look, he said, I'm going to miss you too, Roma. But come outside, he said, and let's look at the moon. And there was a beautiful moon in the Irish sky. And he said, wherever you go in the world, it will be the same moon that's shining down in you, that's shining down in me. He said, and if you miss me, just leave a message with the moon. He said, and I'll leave you one there too. So the book I wrote is called A Message in the Moon. And I created it really to help young children who were feeling any kind of separation, anxiety, that the moon could be used as a reminder that that someone is there looking down on them and loving them. My father passed away when I was still at university, and I was a little nervous about seeing the moon, to be honest, because I thought I would just see the empty moonlight. But my father, to this day, is still leaving me messages in the moon. And it's still a great comfort to me. And it's a reminder, too, a little bit of God's love for us, you know, that we can't always see it, you know, because the moon goes through cycles or on a cloudy night.
But it's always there.
But it's always there.
Do you feel you opened up this genre? I mean, the faith genre that we're seeing, and I don't even like that term, faith-based.
Yes.
I've never really liked that term.
Yeah.
But this, in television, in film, this place for inspirational content. Do you feel that you sort of opened up the doors to what we're seeing now?
I certainly think that we, you know, we've tried to pioneer our way. Mark and I, in those early days when we were making the Bible series, for instance, and everybody said we were crazy and that nobody would want to see the Bible on television. And now, as we know, over 100 million people chose to see the Bible on television. So it was a little bit, it felt a little bit energetically like we were out there with a machete trying to hack our way through a jungle and create a path. But it's so exciting to see how many wonderful pieces of content. I'm really, really thrilled that the Baxters has come together, and you know, I really hope that families watching will enjoy you know, sitting down together over Easter and binging.
Of course they will.
And binging these episodes.
Yeah, well, how can they not? I mean, again, it's so authentic, but to have you back on television leading a show, it's pretty special and fun. So thank you, Roma.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Always a joy.
The Baxters, produced by and starring Roma Downey, premieres March 28th on Amazon Prime.